How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks. And I'm in the middle of the lovely Switzerland. We start at 5, as you know. Nice to see you,
Nice.
my friend. I show you
Excellent.
where I am, and I tell you, very funny
Okay.
story how to hang around. I'm in the middle of this lovely small place, typical Swiss.
Beautiful. What city, what town is that?
Let's say, 1 kilometer from the center of Interlaken,
Uh-huh.
which is one of, see, the typical Swiss place, and of
Yeah.
course, full of flowers,
Yeah. It's so
and
charming. I love it.
yeah, and the problem is that I was driving from Gstaad
Yeah.
today, a lot of traffic, so I couldn't arrive to the hotel. And I
Right.
will be in this lovely garden.
Uh-huh.
Hello to everybody. I show you a
Fantastic.
typical Swiss drink, which is called Shirley.
Uh-huh.
It's apple juice with mineral water, something
Very
that you
nice.
will never drink. How are you, my friend?
Doing very well. Thank you. I
Thank
wish I
you
were
for
there.
joining us.
It looks so lovely.
Yeah, it's a nice town. It's a nice place. That's why I also like absolutely Switzerland. I'm very
Yeah.
proud you are on board with me. Thank you
Yeah.
for the
No,
time. Huh? We start
thank
at
you for
5, so
inviting
we
me.
let the people a little bit enter,
Okay.
and of course, and how the situation here is. Do you arrive to Passione Engadina this year?
No, I don't think so. Because so like I told you, we purchased our tickets, and we have until the end of June to be able to change them without any penalty or cancel them. And right, we looked into travel restrictions. Right now, it seems like Italy has restrictions against U.S. So
It will be away the first week of July.
yeah, so so for the moment, it's not looking good.
No, but you will get it. I have. Do you know Ken Gross, the big
Angles,
journalist?
no.
It's a big car writer. It's
Uh-huh.
been involved in People Beach and many things. And we were talking yesterday, and we think that there will be a chance to be in Europe. But yes, after the half of July, not before. Then it
Yeah.
should be better. It depends
Right.
a lot on what's happening in US most, I would say,
What? Oh,
because
yeah, exactly. Because over
with
here,
the
and
COVID,
also
yeah,
here, it varies so much from state to state. So it's not like
exactly.
the same rules for the whole country.
Anyway, I'm very
Yeah.
proud you are on board, and
Thank you for having me.
I really hope that you can be in Engadine with us. We are all waiting for you.
I know.
You're such.
It would be lovely. I would love to drive that.
We'll
To
see.
get
We'll
that.
see.
That
It's
would
a
be so.
right place where you can pay your Alfa. Eh?
Mm, yeah.
I was coming from Gstaad right now. I have facing in front of me a lovely 4C last edition of the Scuderia. Oh,
Oh, really?
wonderful. Yeah, great car.
Nice. Yeah.
I'm an alcoholic,
Yeah.
honestly speaking. As
Fantastic.
you, I
I know.
think. I and
Exactly.
okay, it's 4:59, so just one more minute.
Sure.
And no, but really, the situation of COVID is something very not easy to be understood, and we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Switzerland was escaped it pretty well, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Now in Switzerland, the situation is quite good. We have to be
Yeah.
careful, of course. We are taking care of everything,
Hmm.
and but it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. Good. Glad
So,
to hear.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Passione Gadini Community meeting of the Friday, 5 o'clock. What time is it in your LA in this moment?
8 a.m.
8 a.m. Thank
Yeah.
you very much for waking up so early
Of
because
course.
you are a creative. So let me introduce the gentleman that we have today, Afshin, Behnia. Okay, to me, Petrolicious is not only an idea or a platform, but it's something that is very close to be a genial thing that you invented with your wife.
Thank
And
you.
I really want to tell you, and I'm not playing with the words, that why I feel it. It's 5 o'clock, as you can hear from the bell of this little town,
Right.
and because it's perfect, elegant, not too much advertising committed, and always great magazine, great pictures, great people. So, first question, of course, I introduce
Yeah.
Afshin Behnia. You are the founder of Petrolicious, that it's an icon for a lot of us.
Mm.
And how did you get the idea?
Um, yeah, so the idea grew out of I've always loved cars. I was a car person since I was 4 years old. I remember when I was four, we lived in Iran. That's when my mom got a brand new BMW 2002 in mint green, and I just fell in love with that car. And from then on, I was like, I love cars. identify them from, you know, a mile away, from just the light signature, from the sound, just like any kid, you know, in our generation. It's a pretty common story. Most boys our age loved cars as kids, and I really loved cars. And then as I grew older, I started to do a lot of track time. Really was reading car content all the time, and then in the age of YouTube, naturally I would search for car content, and there was nothing beautiful, nothing done well. There was you know, and there was the American reality TV shows about cars, which were terrible. They're like really loud, you know, forced drama, and yeah, just weird personalities. Didn't like any of that. And I thought, why isn't there a good car show? And I discovered Top Gear, and I love Top Gear. I thought they did a
Of course.
genius thing with creating a show that is smart, and it appeals to not just car enthusiasts, but if you're sitting down with your boyfriend who's into cars, you can watch it and still enjoy it. They're funny. So that was one inspiration, even though Petrolicious is very different from Top Gear. It was an inspiration because they made it possible that you could make a car show that's enjoyable, that's tasteful, that's, you know, and you know, I understand some people don't like some of those characters, but I think they're great. So that was kind of an inspiration, and but I wanted to focus more on vintage cars and really beautiful driving cars and so forth. So so that was where the nucleus of the idea came from. And then you know, we were at a time where technology made it possible to be able to create quality videos without a ton of money, with, you know, using a Canon 5D or other digital cameras. You know, you can edit things on your desktop, etc. So my wife, whose background is being an executive director or producer at Disney, she essentially headed up the whole production side of things, and as well as branding. So together we came up with a brand, and I came up with a name, and together we came up with a branding and identity. And she led all the video production and film production, and of course
Let me say
she wasn't.
proudly that your wife comes from Milan. Let me say
Yeah,
that, please, please.
absolutely. She's from Milan. Yeah, and she's very sad that we're not in Milan right now, because normally this time of year we would be in Milan and enjoying the Navili and having a nice Negroni Sbagliato and so forth.
There will be the time. Don't worry. There will be
Yeah,
the time. Sorry to
yeah,
interrupt you. Go on.
yeah.
So you were telling
So
us that
yeah,
your wife make the design in a way. She's
yeah,
like
but
the art director.
my wife, not being into cars, she didn't really know anything about cars when we started this project. Now she's an expert, but so I would be the one that curated the subject matter, what we choose to shoot, etc., and she would then execute on that. And she did a fantastic job of finding so many talented filmmakers and so forth, just scouring the web for show reels and things like that, and contacting them and developing their talents, you know, especially younger filmmakers, and developing that look that is Petrolicious.
Please
So
give us
even
the
though we've worked with,
yeah.
you know, close to 30 different filmmakers, there is the consistency in our content that is thanks to my wife, Kika.
She will be very happy about your words. Finally, very good done. You know, I have the same problem. I have many people in my companies that are women,
Yeah.
and it's very funny because at the beginning of my activities with the classic cars, when they say a red car, they told me, Paolo, there is a Ferrari that wants to enter, and of
Yeah.
course could be a Maserati, an Alfa, or something else.
Right.
But of course, for a lady, red means Ferrari. So, but
Yeah.
now they are absolutely better than I sometimes, no problem. But tell
Yeah.
me, how many people are around and are involved, fixed and around the world with Petrolicious? Because you become really able to achieve a lot of information. And let me say thanks to a guy that I missed the name that wrote, "Hey, you," dedicated to you, and not to me.
Uh-huh.
And he wrote, "Hey guys, you changed the game."
Thank you. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Um, so we're 10 people full time here in California. And then we work with a lot of freelancers, from photographers to writers to filmmakers. And it's hard to say how many are active at any moment, because sometimes, some of them work more sporadically. They might get in touch with us once every couple months, or whenever they come across an opportunity for a story. Others are more consistent and regular, and that's fine. We work with both. And so it's really hard to say at any given time how many different people we're working with.
Wow. And
Yeah.
do you have an editorial issues? Do you have like an editorial meeting per month? How do you decide to talk about something? How get a car, a story
Yeah.
enter in the line of Petrolicious?
Sure. So I have we do get together on pretty regularly, especially when it's about the magazine, the Drive Tastefully
Yeah,
magazine
I
that
know.
we put out. So
Wonderful
that's the
done. Wonderful
quarterly.
done, my friend. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. So that one gets pretty consistent meetings to decide on stories, on essentially assign photographers and things like that. And then for the day-to-day editorial on site, um, we all work pretty well digitally, remotely, especially now. So we use Slack to communicate. I have a very good editorial team. There's two people, a managing editor, Mark, and our staff writer, Alex. Alex is a really hardcore car guy, and he has a really good sense of the direction that we want the editorial to go. So I have a lot of trust in him. Mark is a little bit newer, but he's also extremely resourceful. He is a motorcycle and car guy, and he gets what Petrolicious is about. So I trust him pretty well to be autonomous for the most part. We'll talk about broad strokes, like we'll meet and talk about how we want the editorial calendar to change, or what we want to plan for certain important dates and seasons and things like that. But on the day-to-day, they execute. Sometimes obviously for client-related projects, I get more involved and I'll have oversight. But my editorial team does a great job on their own.
Since when did you open Petrolicious and now? Where do you see the main changes about editorial contents, the passion about car classic, and let me say some small troubles around the ecological issues around car classic? Also, if we are just at 0.0002% of the CO2 pollution
Yeah.
in the world, but for demagogic stuffs and very rhetorical ecologic party, they say, come on, car classic, things about rich people, and they don't understand it's not the truth. So how
Yeah.
do you see the changes around that?
Um, honestly, I never really decided to make something that appeals to everybody. It was something that I wanted to create that I think a person like myself would enjoy. And so I didn't really care too much whether we're covering the green aspects of stuff, because there's better outlets out there that do that. And it's a subject that I'm not passionate about, so I wouldn't be able to do it well. So we focus on what we love. Great driving cars, beautiful cars, cars with pedigree, cars with history, cars that are charming. And regardless of price point, regardless of decade, we dabble in newer cars quite a bit more these days as well, because there's still a lot of new cars that will be future classics, and they're, right off the bat, they're great driving cars. So with regard to the aspect of ecology and stuff like that, we've had a couple of satire pieces. I once we created a satire piece about why owning a vintage car is more ecological than buying a new Tesla. And we got a lot of comments, because I guess the search engines picked that up a lot. So we got a lot of comments from people who are not Petrolicious followers, but they discovered it on a search, and they're coming and commenting and not getting that it's a joke, and telling us why we're so stupid and stuff like that. So that was funny.
So let me understand a little bit better, and how it's tough, in your opinion, to resist, because I can imagine that a lot of brands are in contact with you, they try to do things, and how it's possible to remain, let me say, I wouldn't say neutral, but on the right position, because the reputation of Petrolicious is great, and this is really something that I once more to do my compliments to you, because this doesn't happen very often. Very often, the internet sites, or let's say the multimedia sites, are of course visible. There is a lot of interruption from the
Yeah.
brands, and when I see Petrolicious, I see that you were able to keep the right distance about this. How can you do this? How can it happen?
The right distance from the
The brands and the contents.
so just to make sure I'm understanding the question, how do we keep the right distance from being attached to any one brand?
Exactly.
Well, because there's it's easier than it sounds, because um, we like to talk about and celebrate the things that we love, right? And there's so many things to love across so many brands. Like, I don't think there's any, well, there's probably maybe Saturn, but I'm trying to think of any one brand that did not produce anything that was great, that at least had one product that was worthy to talk about or something like that. So I think every car brand has had some, noteworthy and interesting cars that they've produced. Certainly some more than others. And we're not a review site, so we're not going to take a car that we don't like and then talk about how bad it is. We're going to take cars that we love and talk about their how great they are, but also mention, quirks and things like that as well. But again, we're not a review site. The review isn't the focus.
Afshin, tell me one thing. How is it possible not to have the 80% of Petrolicious dedicated to Alfa Romeo?
Yeah. That's,
Alfa means a
yeah,
lot to you, huh?
I can't have my personal bias affected too much.
Oh, okay. And why did you
Yeah.
fall in love with Alfa? What do you like about Alfa?
So going back before
Honestly
Alpha,
speaking, sorry, just to let you know,
yeah.
my grandfather was a mechanical from Ascari. My
Oh,
grandmother
yeah.
was the third woman having the driver's license in Milan,
That's
owning a
amazing.
small factory of Alfa Romeo racing cars, 52,
Wow.
54. So try to imagine what does it mean, Alfa in my blood, of
Yeah,
course. That's why
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
question comes from heart to heart.
Right. Yeah. So going back to when I was 4 and my mom got the 2002, I've always been into small, nimble European sports cars. To me, those are like the funnest cars to drive, and also the most charming and beautiful and so forth. So I've always loved BMWs, Porsches, Ferraris, Alphas. Discovered, so to speak, later in life, like when I was in late teenager or 20, and and it was always like the lesser known brand, especially here. Growing up in Los Angeles, you don't see Alphas the way you see growing up in Italy, and finally I purchased a used '86 Spider, and I thought that I'm going to be buying this because it's just I wanted to get a roadster, and it was a beautiful car, and I didn't have high expectations of it from a driving perspective, but boy was I wrong. It was such a fun car to drive. The handling was amazing, and because it was my first Alpha, so naturally I started to buy Alpha books and read about the history of Alpha. And I said, "Holy shit! How come I didn't know about this brand sooner?" There's so much rich history to this brand in terms of all the different designers that have worked with it. Everyone from Pininfarina, Zagato, Bertone, Ghia, all the designers have had some model for Alpha. Then so many great racers and pilots have driven for Alpha. And engineering-wise, they've been so advanced, but never that they've been so bad at marketing it, so bad at advertising that they've created so many innovations. The fact that they have the dual overhead cam since the early 1900s is pretty amazing. So the more I learned about Alpha, the richer it became, and the more I fell in love with it. And especially because it was something that my peers who also like cars really didn't know about. So I felt like I discovered something that was really special, and nobody else knew about it. So I became really obsessive about Alpha, and that's how my love for it grew.
So I have then the good news to give. I can't tell too much. I love lovely Maserati Ghibli going the way. And sorry, but it was the sound. It was not, because some people could say noise, to me is music. So, but we are very proud to tell you that we are bringing back from the shadows after 45 years an incredible, unique piece of the history of Alfa. And I'm proud to tell you that this car will be displayed in Goodwood Revival 21, and Petrolicious will have the exclusivity as my personal gift about this iconic Alfa that you don't see since 45 years. Is the only piece in the world. We have already talked about, but I can't tell a word about officially. But I can tell you officially that Petrolicious is our platform to tell the story about this incredible car. So we will share something. Please, how do you feel the resto mod time? You know that I'm involved with Luca Betti and Chimera Automobili. We are rebirthing the Lancia 37 in 37 pieces resto mod. And of course, Singer Automotive is an icon to us. What's your opinion about resto mod cars?
Initially, I wasn't into them, but I think I see examples of it really well. So I think it's all about the vision and execution. So it's really easy to do a resto mod poorly, but I have seen some really cool resto mods.
And what's your opinion? For example, Singer is inspiring Amos with his Delta. And did you drive some of this car? Have you never tried one of this car or not?
I have not yet had the chance to drive a Singer. I've been promised that I will, so I'm going to hold them to it. So I haven't had a chance to do it yet.
You were talking about Top Gear before, and just a personal question. I don't like to talk. I'm exactly like you. I do adore to talk about the good things. I don't have enough time to talk about the bad things or the things I don't like, because I have so many good things to say that I was really loving your answer. But one question I have it, because I was inspired also when I invented Passione Engadina, then all my car activities, it's a lot of fun to me, of course. I was inspired by Top Gear.
Oh, yeah?
May I say that I have missed a little bit the meaning of this incredible program? Is it your opinion too? Or you like Top Gear also now?
No, the new version? I actually stopped watching Top Gear, and not so much because I think the quality went down or anything like that. I think for me, my favorite period for Top Gear was around, I want to say 2010 or something like that. They were doing really well back then, and before they became a little bit too ridiculous. And I watched a few episodes of the Grand Tour, and I enjoyed it. But the new Top Gear, I haven't watched. I haven't kept up with it. I feel that towards the end of the original gang of Top Gear, that it was just becoming a little bit too comical, a little bit too over the top, and just predictable as a result. You know, Jeremy Clarkson would always say the same thing, where he goes on about saying, "Oh, this car is awful. This was designed by idiots, blah blah blah," and I love it. Or he would say the opposite, say, "Oh, this car has the best engine, is designed by such and such, and yet is rubbish." It became a satire.
How do you keep high the quality of Petrolicious? How do you project in the future? Because all the times you really never miss the quality. And where do you see your Petrolicious in 1, 2, 3 years?
Yeah, it's not easy to keep the quality high. Again, my wife does a phenomenal job with the production team to ensure the quality of the films and so forth are really high. And again, a big thanks to my editorial team for being selective and also looking out for the right kind of contents, working with great photographers. But it's a constant maintenance thing. You always have to be looking out for new talent to bring on, into your network of freelancers and so forth. And fortunately, we get a lot of inquiries submitting, saying, "Hey, love your work and would love to shoot for you or write for you, etc." So we're fortunate in that sense that we get a lot of inquiries that way, and we try out new people that way.
And when a photographer approaches Petrolicious, what do you ask him, or a video maker? I mean, for the point of view of concept, of line, of design, to respect the image of the company. What do you ask him?
Well, we look for his work. So,
Okay.
or his or her work, we'll ask for a show reel or portfolio and take a look to see, just their eye, their sensibility, what their style is like.
We are very honored to say that thanks to Andrea Clanguti, we were once with Passione Engadina on Petrolicious
Yeah,
channel. We were very honored with incredible, lovely Auto Bianchi Abarth
yeah,
770 HP. So it was a
right.
very good
He's
moment.
a very talented photographer, absolutely.
Andrea is a good photographer and a great guy. Absolutely. We are very
Yeah,
proud to work with him since a long time. He's from St. Moritz. So this
uh-huh.
is the second thing that make us very proud of his participation. And
Yeah,
great. When I make the decision, you have seen all the people that I have on webinar with me in these
yeah.
times and more to come. When I ask you to be my guest, is that really Petrolicious changed the game? And
Mm.
how do you feel proud of that?
Uh, my
And how
wife
do
and
you
I
feel,
both feel
sorry,
very
and how
proud.
do
Yeah.
you feel responsible for that?
Yeah, yeah. We definitely, I think we created a lot of waves in the industry. Um, I think we helped improve the quality of other outlets as well, for sure. I know that as a fact because I've had the editor of other magazines say, "Hey, thank you. You gave us a wake up call. We improved our game as a result." So I know we've helped make elevates everything across the board to some degree, and that feels really good.
Will you keep the paper version of Petrolicious?
Yeah, so the paper version we introduced last year, so almost a year and a half ago now, and yeah, we have members all around the world who receive it, and the feedback has been wonderful.
So now it's time for the people. We have still 8 minutes. Yeah, I know. I mean, come on. Just the way you send the magazine is unbelievable, my
Uh-huh.
friend. Just
Yeah,
the way you send the magazine to our
right.
our
Yeah,
home. No. I'm not kidding. I'm really proud to have you on board and
thank you.
start collaboration with Passione Engadina too. Please try to come to drive. So the next 7 minutes, if we have some question for the people, they are welcome. There is a gentleman that wrote that you really changed the video. Founding member here,
Yeah.
PB in design. I don't know who he is, but probably you can know him a little bit better than I. So if you have some question for Afshin, it's a pleasure to host you with the last question. So let's go. Colors. Why Gulf, Martini, Marlboro were so great in our minds? They are iconic. Why do you think?
I think combination. They were presented on some of the most glorious cars ever made. So just seeing those colors, you could almost put any color on those, almost,
Yeah.
and they would live forever. Second, I say almost any color, but the Gulf colors especially are they were brilliant. Whoever came up with that light blue and the muted orange, that's a beautiful, amazing combination.
They were
And the way
beautiful
it would,
on the Gulf Mirage. Try to imagine that they were beautiful on
yeah,
the Gulf Mirage of the Porsche 911, 917. So
exactly, yeah. And to see that on the 917s, for example, with that arrow going down the side on which model was that? The one that was racing in Targa Florio, for example.
yeah,
They're just so gorgeous, and I think it was like a time too, the time in which those brands were on such special cars racing was was a time where it took a lot of skill and bravery to drive those cars properly and win. So I think there's a lot of elements that created that legend, that myth around those liveries.
yeah, unbelievable. They are still iconic. Eh? It's
Yeah,
really something that you see with Luca Betti. We're doing these 037, the first five, and already two
yeah,
clients of them won the special delivery Martini. And I mean, it's incredible. It's an
hmm
icon, and there are no cars with new liveries that are so iconic. And I think you're
hmm
totally right what you say. Your preferred movie of cars? The movie that you like more? I express myself, Grand Prix,
yeah.
no doubt about it.
Some of my favorite car movies are actually not car movies, but they're great
Okay.
movies, and I also enjoy them because they have really cool cars in them. Some of them happen to be vintage movies, and some of them are new movies that are periods set in old times. But for example, oh, how can you not love the movie Weekend?
Okay.
You know, and that you see so many cars, especially in that one long
Long.
panorama. Yeah. And that's such a great film. Or even like Fellini movies, you know, seeing the Giulietta in La Dolce Vita, or seeing the Giulietta in The Day of the Jackal, for example. So
Or the
I
Lancia
love
Aurelia
watching.
the Lancia Aurelia B24 with Vittorio Gassman.
Of course, yeah, Il Sorpasso. Yeah.
Yep.
So I love these classic movies that are not necessarily car movies, but they
Okay.
happen to feature some of my favorite cars. Or, you know, another thing I love are those B movies from the 70s, like police movies set
Okay.
in Milan. You know, like people in the US probably have never heard of them, but
You are really
like
Petrolicious. There's
Milano
nothing to say.
Città Sporca, things like that, you know.
With
Yeah,
the
and you
Giulia
see
Pantera of the police and
exactly,
going like
exactly. You
crazy.
see all those
Okay.
chase scenes and the classic food cars coming
Okay.
up.
You're absolutely confirming us that you are a Petrolicious addicted. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Once I think, tell us the truth. We are going to the end, but tell us the truth.
Yeah.
Once happened that you were not proud of Petrolicious. Did it ever happen to make a huge mistake? Where you say, come
Well,
on, this is not
yeah,
us.
yeah. So we've definitely created content that we've never published because it was terrible. So we've definitely created things, but then we were sensible enough to be smart about it
Okay.
and not publish it.
You stop it
But
before.
yeah. But I think we've been pretty good about filtering ourselves and not doing too many embarrassing things.
Okay. And
Yeah.
tell me one times when you have been really, really proud that you say, wow, this was absolutely what I was expecting.
I think so. The very first time was our very first client that we ever got was Ferrari, and they came to us, and this was in our early days. I think this was our second, like close to the end of our second year, and they came to us because they saw that we made Ferrari owners look great, and they wanted to work with us to celebrate the 60 years of Ferrari North America, and they
Okay.
commissioned us to create 5 films. So the iconic 250 GTO film that we made with Derek Hill, the 312 PB, and other great Ferrari films that we shot was done in collaboration with them. So I was extremely proud that a brand that I love, like Ferrari, came to us and said, "We love your work. We want to work with you." And so that was a very special moment.
Let's go. We are going to the end because we always respect the 30 minutes, as you know, because
Okay.
I like that the people can stay in touch, and
Yeah.
I hope not to get boring. With a guest of you, doesn't happen, but I could be boring, of course. But what is impressed me already with the talks that we had together before and when we met us, is that you really were able to translate a passion into a work, into a job. And how do you feel at night when you go to bed and you think about you have fulfilled a dream? How do you think? How do you feel?
Yeah. For me, it's never fulfilled. It's an ongoing process. So I can't say I've fulfilled my dream. It's still, you know, every day is living the dream, I guess. So, and it's not to say that every day is a dream. There's definitely challenges to the business as well. But yeah, to me, it's not it's not a finished project. It's just an ongoing thing.
And finally, how many times you come to Italy? When do we see you back in Italy? Very soon?
I hope so, but honestly, I don't know this year how it's going to work out. But normally, we would be there 3 times a year. We spent like a total of 4 months out of the year in Italy. We're there from like mid-May to mid-July, then again for the month of September, then for the Christmas holidays.
This is perfect. Johnny W., I want to thank you for what you wrote because it's the best end of this webinar. Thank you for the amazing content. You fueled my passion for classic since before I could drive.
Oh, fantastic. That's lovely to hear. Thank you so much. That's really kind.
There is no better words to end this webinar with you, because it's absolutely what we think. And really, you can't see, but I get emotional in this moment, because I'm really proud to have talked with you, because
Thank you.
you really, please keep this quality on, respect the great passion and great respect that we have for you, your wife, and all your people at Petrolicious. Incredible job.
Thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you. Thanks for having me on.
I hope to see you in Passione Engadina this summer. We'll see. Okay?
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you to all Passione Engadina community. Next week, we have a guest that probably you know, Afshin, is Luca Del Monte, Ferrari Rex writer.
Very nice.
And so we will talk in Italian and English with him. And let me say, the icon book about Ferrari, and nothing to say. And Netflix should come very soon with a movie around the book of Luca. So we will talk about the Drake.
Fantastic.
Ciao. See you soon,
Ciao.
Afshin. Thank you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank
Ciao.
you. Bye.